Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of X4, and today we've got a couple of things we're going to be looking at. The first one is something we're missing for our ship production that's going to help us, and the second one is obviously them fleets that we had earlier. We're going to set up into some CAG groups as promised, and then we're going to look at a medium class ship to assign them to. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the first thing that we are short on, that's causing us a little bit of an issue that I've had to manually resolve, is smart chips. These smart chips here. Now, at the moment, we're purchasing a lot of resources. So these here, intermediary wares and resources here, some of these we're buying ourselves because our original metal factory that we had with our ship production doesn't have the ability to build them. The reason for that being is we just don't have the blueprints. Now, there are a couple of ways you can get blueprints, as I've mentioned in the past. Today, we're just going to buy the blueprint we're missing. However, if you want to check out how to get free blueprints, then make sure you check out the video in the link above. And then you can have a look and see how you can get all this stuff for free-ish without having to spend your hard-earned cash. Now, without further ado, let's get straight into it. So, smart chips is the one that we are missing, that I have had to manually put into our wharf. Now you see here the wharf is already down compared to what it can hold, quite low. Now this was right down here and it wasn't building any ships whatsoever.
Awaiting orders.
You can see here these are the only components it's asking for to build the ships, and this storage here is nothing to do with it. These are obviously intermediary parts and stuff like that, but we're making an absolute stack of cash from this station. Now look at that, nearly 600 million. I put a couple of 100 million in there to get it going, and it's really taken off. So we're gonna take some of that money away at a later stage, and obviously use that to purchase some stuff that we don't have, like blueprints and stuff like that that we may need sudden. But first of all, let's get straight into building our smart ship. Now the first thing we need is the actual blueprint, and I've already gone ahead and gone to the antiquity and antiquing. And we're going to go to our modules here, and we're just going to buy this one smart chip right there.
Good luck out there.
And the Antiquing are the only ones who have that blueprint, so if they're not in your faction, don't worry, it's not all over. Again, check out the video that I linked earlier on, and I'll show you how you can get it. Right, now that we've got our blueprint, let's get straight into building station. Now remember, since the smart chip factory is an end product factory, or at least it's one of the components we need as an end product, I'm going to go ahead and place it somewhere around here. Let's get our manage plots. We'll make it. We'll just make a maximum now, 10 by 10. Now, don't forget you can make it where it's lengthy, width, wider or higher or whatever way you want. But I just like a nice square. And let's go ahead and place that not too close to our station production, because we want to obviously have plenty of room. Now you'll notice these are tiny now. Some of my ships have wandered out into open space, and it's made the hexagon basically stretch, which is good for us because it gives us more room to build. Right, smart chips. So straight off the bat, we're going to get our smart chips. That's the smart chip right there. You see it's top heavy. So we need to look at getting it on top. So first things first, dock module, our 3E dock module. Let's go ahead and place that in the top right corner. Okay, there we go. That's as close as it's going to get. There it is, close as you can get. Then we're going to get our 8 medium standard. Going to rotate it so it's lengthways. Go. So they're going to place our 3-6. Now someone mentioned, do you really need these? Well, if you want small ships to be able to dock, then yes you do. Right, so that's our docking. Plenty of docking there. You can place another 3 dock E if you want to. We may do that, but right now we don't need to. Right, let's make some space. So we're going to place base 3. Just so it's away from the docking. We're going to put a cross connector in there. We're then going to get our habitat module. At the moment we've only got the Argon habitat module. I definitely want to change that because I'm a big fan of the other ones. The Taladi ones are really nice. I like the circular dome ones that they've got. Now that's probably still a little bit close to our docking, but I'm not too worried. Remember, this is just basically going to build us smart chips. So we've really got plenty of space here. Let's go ahead and get another base connector. We could have just taken a copy of the fine. There we go. That's placed in there. And now we need our production modules and our storage. Now I'm going to try something a little bit different. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll try. I'm going to try cross connector, and then I'm going to put storage on either side, and then our production module top. We'll get our storage modules. So we need a large container module. Matter of fact, if we use the narrow section, go ahead and rotate that around there, like so. Go. Okay, then we're going to want our production module. Smart chip. Well, smart chip module. Then I'm going to put a base one. Should I hope be enough? May need the base 2. Go. Copy sequence. Oh yes, look at that. A tiny gap between the two. Copy sequence. Now what we can do is, oh, I should have put a cross connector there. We do that. Let's do that. Let's just put a secondary in there, like so. There we go. Vertical 2. I don't know where you're trying to put that. Then hopefully, I think we could have done with a vertical 3. Come on, connect. Not because of slightly. Right, so that should now be literally not touching. I think close, but it ain't touching. Yep. Now what we can do is we can actually move this completely away from our docking. It doesn't have any input on it, but I'm fine where it is for now. Okay, so that is our smart chip production. That's 8 smart chips. That'll do us for now. We can expand this at a later stage, but let's see how it goes first. Let's get a builder on it. Got Argon construction ship. We can actually use our own, because he's not doing anything. Perfect. Manage resources. Estimated money for all resources. We'll put 12 million in there for now. Our hull parts, we definitely don't want it to be taking hull parts. We've got absolutely billions of them. And energy cells, we've actually got, well, we haven't got billions, but you know, but we have got about 8 million energy cells. So let's make sure we're doing them. One of the other things we want to look at very soon is things like Claytronics, because Claytronics is in almost anything, and graphene as well. They're the two that we want to look at very soon, sooner rather than later. Let's just go ahead and do that. Right, so that's going to start building for us for our what you might call it, our wharf. Now, obviously, that wharf needs upgrading to our large ship, but we'll do that at a later stage. Next thing we want to do is discuss about our fleets. Right, let's have a look. Where have we placed our fleet? We placed it in the Reach, didn't we? Yes, we did. Yeah. Okay, so the idea is to have these into small, manageable groups. And we obviously, I've gone ahead and built some CAG Leaders ships. We go ahead. Have a look at them. They're a heavy fighter. Now, if you remember, I said I had a plan for one of the heavy fighters. We'll go ahead and show you what I've done. Now, I wanted to be able to keep up with the fleet, obviously, and not hold them back. So I went ahead and built these. The Eclipse Vanguards. Remember I said there was a purpose for these? These are my CAG Leaders. I've set it up to a high preset. It's got maximum combat engines. It's got all the top software in it as well. I did leave it with the Iron Blasters because I'm not too worried, because obviously their composition of fleet that they're managing will have the required weaponry. So without further ado, let's go ahead and set up. Now, I haven't called them anything like Alpha, Beta, or anything like that because that'll be done by the fleet management itself. All right, let's go ahead and zoom around, holding everything in. Go right. So I'm going to set 4 fighters, 1 CAG leader. Attack with commander, and they're all obviously alpha group. So that's now going to create a fleet. Now, if you remember from the previous time we did this, obviously these fleets can then go into other fleets, creating one large fleet. What we're going to basically do. So we're just going to set these up for CAGs. We may need more CAG pilots. So, attack with commander. What it just means is we can now break these down into smaller things. Like so that's got 5 ships in that one block. Makes it nice and tidy, and you don't have all this green everywhere. Oh, that's 5. Okay. Here, commander. Now, the one thing I don't want to do, place my interceptor fighters with a heavy fighter, because the heavy fighter is much slower than what we put for our interceptor fighters. So for now, they're going to be left alone. Go. We do have light fighters. We're just going to do the same again for light fighters. And then we've got our torpedo heavy fighters. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Back once it's all done. And welcome back, everybody. And as you can see, we've now got all of our fleets. And I can't stress this enough. You do not need to do this at all. There is no requirements to do this. This is the way I like to do it, because it allows me to have more control over my fleets. If you don't want to do this, don't do it. Like any guide or any video that I do, I always stress that there are more than one ways to do anything. This way I found more comfortable for me, and it'll become more apparent when we start going into the size of 300, 400, 500 ships. This is all broken down, and it'll break down even further when we start going into the capital ships. As you saw when we had our original fleet, everything was broken down nicely. The other thing it also does is tells you your fleet compositions right here. It just tells you what every ship in that fleet composition is doing. And I don't have to give 5 orders, I just give 1 order. So now that we've got these all set up, instead of having this absolute pile of mess, they'll automatically have a here we go, behavior. They'll all have a formation. And you can change this as well. Now, that depends massively on your actual commander's abilities. So as you can see, we haven't got much at the moment. So more than likely, most of these are going to be line abreast. We've got a couple of triangles because we've got a couple of one-star captains. Inverse V shape. We're going to leave them to what they're best doing. But if we now select these fleets here, we can then place them over here. And you'll see that they'll automatically, it might be a little bit too close for them to gain. Place them further forward. Like so. See how they're spreading out? Another reason why having a fleet is so useful is because they'll take the formations that they've got, and it saves you having a massive mess. Now, if you have a look at the interceptor fighters, they're just mess. Have a look at these, and they're slowly starting to form their formations. Now, if you look at the leaders, they're still in some sort of mess.
Awaiting orders.
But the fighters that they've got aren't. That's much better. Actually kind of makes a cool shape. Now we can further improve on that obviously as we go out and place them against a ship. So let's have a look. Now these are going to be our usable ships, you know, our fleets that we want to actually go into combat rather than resupply fleet. So let's go to our wharf, build ships. Okay, now this time we want a medium frigate. I'm not a huge fan of these frigates. I think they look kind of stupid, but we'll go ahead with the one we've got at the moment. We can replace it at a later stage. But let's do our usuals. Let's go ahead and place all of our software on here. Okay, right, so a couple of things. They can only hold one small ship. They can only hold one ship docked. They cannot have any medium ships. Obviously, it's a medium ship of its own anyway. It's got a small bit of storage. We're not worried about the storage. Everything else is just standard. Consumables. We've got a few defense drones. We'll go ahead and we'll keep it on 6. We'll put 6 repair drones on as well. Let's not worry about deployables. It's got its usual flares. It's got a full complement of crew. What weaponry are we carrying? We're carrying plasma cannons. Plasma cannons are really good. We can look at the shards if we wanted to, but we've only got the Mark 1 shards. We definitely need to look at getting the Mark 2 shards at some stage. But this comes with turrets as well. Now we need to start considering what turrets we want to use. I'm going to leave it with the flak turrets, because the flak turrets are actually really good against fighters. And since this is going to be our fighter, the kind of lead ship, the likelihood is it's going to be in the mix with other fighters. So we'll leave it with the flak cannons at the moment. Everything else is as you would expect: shield generators, combat engines, and obviously our combat engines and combat thrusters. Nothing out of the ordinary there. We'll go ahead and we'll create a name. So a fighter escort. Actually, this is it's gonna be frigate fighter escort. So add that to ship, and we'll create. We'll create 4 for now. Don't think we're going to need that many. Create 4. How many of each type of 1, 2? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it should be. Is it 5 or 4? 1, 2, 4. 5 heavy fighter groups. 5 light fighters. Then we should have 5 torpedoes. So we're actually going to need 1 more of them ships. Yep. Did we do 4? We did 4. Go ahead and create another one. Then again, all the software in the world. You don't need to worry about a trading computer if you don't want to, but it does update your trade stuff around you. And if you want to use your container storage and stuff like that, but we'll not worry about that. Let's frigate fighter escort. Add to shopping list. Firm order. So we now should have 5 frigates being produced. We do 5 of them. They'll be done. Well, all of them will be done in a little over 3 minutes. So we'll pop back in 3 minutes. Get our fighter escorts over to here, and we'll see how it then looks when it's all set up. Welcome back, everybody, and we've now got our frigate escort fighters. Now, the one thing I realised is we actually only need 3 at the moment, and the other 2 can stay where they are because we're going to probably need more fighters here. So we're going to bring our frigates into the system, like so. And then, as I say, I only need 3 at the moment because what we want to do is we want to keep the types of ships we've got, our torpedo heavy fighters, together. So these 5 fleets here will be our torpedo heavy fighters. So we'll go ahead and we'll place that in our attack with Commander Alpha. So we've now got a subgroup. It's our CAG leader. and then our alpha group there. So alpha alpha. So you can see straight away what we've got. It just places it all really nicely in a group here. One thing I would suggest you do is two things. If you want them to stay in the same area, not fly off like they are doing, wait until your frigates are in the system. And secondary, don't name your fleets, because as you've just seen there, it's just removed everything and placed it into fleet 39. Do the same again for these 5 here. Count. And place them into the next one. Check with and alpha. You'll see exact same thing's happened. It's now called fleet 33. So wait until you finish doing your fleet compositions.
End of my research.
Excellent, more research done. Alpha. Okay, so we've now got three fleets set up as opposed to what we had previously. Heavy fighters, light fighters, and our torpedo runners. But we're far from being ready yet. We've still got absolutely loads to do yet. Let's just down here. Again, I'm not naming them just yet because they are still not in our main fleet. And that fleet 1 there is not going to be anything to do with it. Even though it's got a battleship, that is going to be our home defense run. They've been out in combat for quite a bit. We need to bring them back. Now, you'll also notice as well that they have different formations. Because our frigates, I'm not sure why it's got point guard there, but I'm not going to complain. You'll see there, it actually has point guard for all 3 of them. So yeah, you get slightly different formations, but you'll also see the skills will also go up a bit quicker when you've got them in a fleet like this. Now, the last thing I'm going to do before we finish off here is just show you how much more organized it looks when you've got them set up like this. But obviously we've got to wait for our ships to turn up, so we'll be back shortly. And there you have it, our 3 fleets that we've actually had done. And if you just look at the difference between our rabble of 20 ships here and our 3 fleets of 75 ships, well, 78 even, because it's got 3 of the medium ships, you can just see just the difference. Now, if something comes and attacks us, the likelihood of like a mine or a missile or something blowing half your fleet up is less likely. There are a few things we could do to change it, and just remember, just before we go, the one last thing we can do is we can give individual groups formations. You can actually change the formation within the formation. So, because the frigate escort is obviously the first ship in, it's the point defense. Just see the ships are moving around now to realign. Just bear that in mind. But there you have it, our first kind of organized fleet. A bit better than the last one we had. Yeah.
Please halt. We will be scanning your cargo hold.
Excellent.
Sure. Scan anytime.
So,
You're clean. Go about your business.
you done? You done? Yeah. Excellent.
No surprise there.
So, as you can see, we have got our fleets kind of set up. We want to expand on that, but to expand on that, we need to get our XL and large ship production facilities. We're going to try and get that for free. And if you'd like to see how that's done, make sure you do check out the link to the video that I put earlier on in to try and get the free stuff. Whether we get the free one or not is a different story, but you can at least see how to do it. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining me for this episode. Let me know in the comments section if you've got any suggestions, ideas, or questions, or anything like that, and I'll make sure I get back to you. But until next time, everybody, take care for now. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye for now.